my pitch is, hey, we've got this amazing asset and resource. We just built this transportation graph. There are three main things we can do for you. We can address a specific need, for example, safe routes to schools. For example, active transportation access to parks and recreation. For example, access to community services around specific housing developments. For example, scoring the risks and level of traffic stress in and around some of these arteries and interstate highways. These are some of the projects that we really need partnerships on. We need folks that have access to other folks on the ground. We need also to understand what are your data attribute needs. Like, it's not just about what speeds people are exposed to, it's also about, you know, how far or distant is the pedestrian from those high-speed moving cars. But that's not sufficient to assess level of traffic stress. There are other factors that come into to the metric and other questions that people are asking. And so my ask is to think about ways that we can contribute by basically enhancing the data in a pilot kind of way. So it won't be statewide, but it will be in a way that may impact a particular question or address a specific pain point that you might have. And, you know, I'm looking at Jennifer because I'm thinking very hard about some of the initial piloting that we did around Lighthouse for the Blind, which then kind of impacted some of the corridor changes that were done across, you know, Rainier and 23rd Avenue. And, you know, these would have been so much faster to do at the time if we actually had this like transportation graph layer available. So just putting it out there, and you don't have to think about it right now, but do contact us if you do come up with a project idea. And specifically, we'll have another round of specialized community-led impact opportunities in after June. And so my hope is to be able to kind of address those through that grant effort. That was 2 minutes, not one, but thank you. Anyone else with a pitch? I'm looking at you, Thomas. Yeah.
Well, so if you weren't here yesterday, I'm Thomas Craig. I'm a transportation planner at WashDOT in the Public Transportation Division. And the Public Transportation Division is really starting to kick off right now the effort to publish an update to the Public Transportation Plan, which hopefully will be published next year. We have 2 and likely soon 3 advisory groups that we're forming. The 2 primary advisory groups are an industry advisory group and community advisory group. If you have a professional relationship to transportation, then you could be a member of the industry advisory group, or your organization could, and you should reach out and make sure that your organization is represented. If you represent any community that is affected by transportation, which, spoiler alert, all of them, you could be a great community advisory group member. I'm personally the more leading the quantitative research side of the public transportation plan, and we hope to use accessibility analysis to define the amount of access in the state now by transit and some goals for what access should look like. And we're looking for nerds who want to really think through exactly how a quantitative model would work. We would be asking questions like, oh, you know, we need to define in order to get to sort of a montage of different like points of data from an accessibility analysis. Maybe we need to look at for different types of walk sheds, of different types of normative users, in order to kind of like present an array of walk shed analyses within a statewide plan. And we need to kind of define the quantitative parameters that would best reflect a statewide population, and get down into the details of what those would look like. So if talking about those numbers, how do we weight, like, what are the different coefficients in front of different types of communities and destinations? Destinations is a big one. Like, what's the basket of destinations that people need to get to? Is it 20% medical facilities? Is it 16% medical facilities? Is it, who knows? I mean, there's a lot of questions there. There's turtles all the way down. But if those are the sorts of questions you like, then we could really use your help. You're welcome to reach out to me, thomas.craig@washdot.wa.gov. Thank you. That was also 2 minutes.
Hi, everyone. Armand Shabazian from Seattle DOT. I would say we have a couple initiatives that we would love continued engagement on. We'll soon be releasing a report that we did with the University of Oregon on our autonomous vehicle inclusive planning. Be on the lookout. If you Google Seattle autonomous vehicles, it should take you to our autonomous vehicle website. It's also linked in the presentation that I think is on the conference website. Definitely be in touch. Things haven't moved in the legislative session this year, but we expect them to move either statewide next year or federally. There's a very real chance that we'll be federally preempted on autonomous vehicles. And so we want to continue gathering public feedback to uplift concerns to whatever venues we can. So there's an email, it's dot.automatedvehicles@seattle.gov. It's on the website. Feel free to send any input to us there. And then also within our work stream is shared micromobility. So that includes scooter, bike, and car share. There'll be continued work to refine the service, especially as we prepare for FIFA World Cup. Micromobility is one of the biggest ways that folks connect to the stadiums. And so whatever input you might have on those services is really beneficial for us, especially as we address parking and obstructions. There will be some continued work to refine what parking will look like so that it creates a better experience for those using the sidewalks. So thank you.
Different pitch, not related to Tasker Center. I'm, along with Tanisha and Kunal, on the accessibility committee for Seattle's World Cup. Is that what we call ourselves? Yes. The accessibility committee for the Seattle World Cup events, headed by Hedda McClendon. If you know her, she's a firecracker. And so we are they've developed a Unity loop that's focused on a number of different both venues as well as businesses who are locally owned, predominantly minority owned businesses. And so what we're doing is an accessibility assessment in that Unity loop to ensure that there is access, and where there isn't because of topography or other kinds of infrastructure gaps. We're trying to address those via like shuttle services and things of that nature. So if you want to be involved in that, maybe it will get you a World Cup ticket. I'm not sure. Please let us know. Thanks.